afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, October 15th, and we're going to discuss the weather synopsis for the United States. We're going to start off. There's 4 different air masses that are influencing our country big time. Let's start off with number 1. High pressure system situated over Georgia this afternoon will be continuing to move southeast right off of the coast by tomorrow morning. This high pressure system is pumping a south flow of warm and even humid air up the east coast, bringing well above normal temperatures. In fact, this is unseasonably warm heat, a double in fact. This is a late summer season weather pattern that's happening on the east coast today. Temperatures might be breaking records south of the mid-Atlantic area, perhaps in North Carolina or South Carolina, but when you go up further north, records probably will not be broken, but it will be warm with high temperatures in Baltimore, maybe upper 80s, Washington, D.C., mid-80s, Philadelphia, probably low 80s, and tomorrow we're even going to continue to see temperatures probably low 80s for Baltimore, even 80 degrees for Philadelphia tomorrow, but a sea breeze will develop in Atlantic City, highs only in the mid-70s. Let's go back to today because I just want to know, what does the audience feel? What do you feel about temperatures being in the 80s, those on the East Coast? It's like late summer. It's like not too hot, but it's just amazing. What do you guys feel? That is quite a response. That's what I thought, because that's what I would feel. It's hooray for sure. But in Baltimore, I want to know, but how do you guys feel in Baltimore over the fact that it's almost going to be warm enough to break a record, but not quite? Yeah, I love breaking records, and that's just too bad that we don't get to break a record. But it's going to be warm, as we said, nonetheless. I want everybody to realize the following. This is very unique. In the Chicago Tribune, it said the coldest temperature yesterday was 8 degrees, and it occurred, now get ready for this one. It occurred 37 miles southeast of this little town in Utah. The newspaper, I don't remember it, but the newspaper mentions the little town. Now, I want to know, like, if the warmest temperature yesterday was in St. Louis, would the newspaper say the warmest temperature was 300 miles southwest of Chicago, Illinois? It would just say the actual town. So why does it say 37 miles southeast? Why would it do that? Again, it wouldn't do that by Chicago or St. Louis. Why would it do that then? Isn't that strange? Yeah, that really is strange. That needs a tremendous explanation. Who has this weather station? Is it on someone's roof? Like, what? Where is it? How come this place doesn't have the name of a town? The Chicago Sun-Times agrees with the temperature. The coldest temperature in the U.S. was 8 degrees, but it says it was in Body Park, California. They actually have some clarity. Yeah, I know. It's so nice to have clarity. But you know what? As nice as it is to have clarity, it's so awesome to have humor. That Chicago Tribune, 37 miles. Don't you want to check? That requires like an investigation. And I hope you're listening to the instruments in the background, because, that's definitely, it requires an investigation. And those instruments enhance the experience over here, don't they? Now, let's go ahead and pull ahead with the warmest temperature in the U.S., now that we mentioned the coldest. The warmest temperature was in Falcon Lake, Texas, once again. Falcon Lake, Texas, with a high temperature of... I completely forgot what the high temperature was. I think it was 102 degrees. If it was 102, what does the audience feel about that, about it being 102? No response. No response. I guess why should that get a response anyways? It was 102 degrees. That's all. Maybe it wasn't 102, but I'm pretty sure it was. As again, we have that unseasonably warm air on the East Coast. Chances of showers and thunderstorms off in the southeast part of this country, especially Florida. Periodic showers also up in the New England area. Higher chances occur in the western parts of the area. But by tomorrow, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms develop all across the East Coast. However, the instability is not as intense as it usually is when a vigorous cold front goes by. But nonetheless, rain and possibly even heavy could occur. That's what's going on today. We have a strong storm system located off in east central Illinois, and that storm system has a barometric pressure of 29.7. It's going to be moving to just north of Cleveland today. It's going to be strengthening to 29.5 as it does, and then continue into southern Ontario, into Canada, strengthening to 29.3. That's actually considered rapid intensification of a storm system. I know. I also love it when storms intensify so rapidly. I definitely love it when it does that. So I'm glad the crowd agrees with me on that. Along the storm system, associated with the storm system, we have a cold front going all the way down into South Texas. Temperatures ahead of the front are in the 90s in Houston, Texas. But most areas are in the 80s for the southern part of the U.S. ahead of the front, and the 70s. When you head to the northern parts of the United States ahead of the front. Behind the front, we have temperatures in the 50s for the northern half of the U.S., in the 60s for the southern half, but then when you go down into Texas, temperatures are in the 70s. So it's certainly a 20-degree difference ahead of the front to behind the front. One of these articles pointed out that people should be on the lookout for the heavy rains associated with this front and storm system, especially because waterlogged trees, I know who's ever heard of this. Waterlogged trees may fall on power lines and people may lose electricity. I've heard of snow-covered trees falling, especially with leaves. I've heard of winds blowing down trees or tornadoes, but waterlogged trees falling down onto power lines? I hope the audience is not laughing at the fact that people are going to be losing power, because what does the audience feel about that? Okay, thank God. So I still have people with sensitivity in my audience. That's wonderful. Weather enthusiasts with sensitivity. It's just the waterlogged trees. I'm not even sure exactly who we're laughing at. I don't know who we're laughing at, but something's funny. I just don't know what. In any case, In any case, that's really what they're saying. People should be careful about that. Is that one of the results of climate change, that we're seeing an increase of waterlogged trees over the years? Now, I don't really mean to make fun of climate change. It's just something other people do, so I decided to do it. But it's funny nonetheless. Even, you could take climate change seriously. No issue with that at all. I have spoken about that on a different podcast. In any case, moving right along over here, we have this is a good one actually. When you go into Indiana and places to the east, the Storm Prediction Center has put those areas in a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms. That means a 10% chance for severe weather within a 25-mile radius. The only problem is, the National Weather Service says they really don't know if there's enough instability to even produce a storm. So there's very little chance for a thunderstorm. The chances of a severe weather are higher than a thunderstorm. That's just impossible. So let's just assume there's a 10% chance for both, but I don't really think that's true either. It's probably just people are expressing their chances differently, and that's perhaps what's going on over here. But we covered the East Coast. We covered the system here in the U.S. Let's go over now to the West Coast and discuss the developing situation over in Los Angeles. Santa Ana winds are developing perhaps because of a high-pressure system located on the border of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. That high-pressure system is going to be moving into Texas tomorrow. But let's stay focused on to the southeast California. The east winds, regardless of why there are east winds are coming out of the east. We have Santa Ana winds. The thing about these winds are that they're more easterly than usual. More easterly than usual means there's more downsloping involved. And when there's more downsloping, temperatures are warmer. And that's when we reach our peak. We're in mid-October. Temperatures expected to go into the low 90s in Los Angeles today and tomorrow. The newspapers are not forecasting that, but I don't know why. They're saying low to mid 80s, but low 90s in Los Angeles. Temperatures in Phoenix, Arizona are going to be cooler than that, mid 80s. What does the audience feel? I want to know about heat. It's not comfortable, right? It's heat, but do I have real weather enthusiasts that love the heat? Like, I want to know. Oh, the audience loved that. I can tell. We had bells, we had guns, we had cameras, people, I don't know, they were taking pictures of. So I see we do love heat. That's wonderful. That means I do not have a normal audience in front of me. We have true weather enthusiasts. But I do want to know, what does everyone feel about those severe storms? Well, what does everyone feel about the rain? Let's start off with that. What do people feel about the rain? Really? Yeah, I guess because it's boring, right? It's just rain. What if there's thunder added to that rain? Thunder added to the rain. I don't hear a response. That's amazing. What if it's almost a severe thunderstorm? Oh, because it's almost there, but not quite, right? What does the audience feel? Oh, here it comes. What does the audience feel about severe thunderstorms? Meaning you already have to deal with it. There's already precipitation falling. It's falling. So now you have a severe storm. You get to watch trees blow down onto I'm glad you got that hooray in first, because blow down onto power lines. What is that? Now, I hope people are not hooraying. I already know I have a sensitive audience in front of me. So, but the hooray must have been at the whole site. Maybe they blow down into power lines, and I mean, everyone's safe. You lose power, it's so exciting, right? What do people feel about it? Blow it down. Come on, trees. Just blow it down. Oh, they took a picture? Okay, anyways. Moving right along over to the northwest part of our country, that's where we have significant stuff. We have that high pressure system. The high pressure is centered right over the area that got the heaviest snow from the blizzard earlier this week on the Idaho, Montana, Wyoming border. High pressure is attracted to cold air because cold air sinks and high pressure sinks, so it could develop real quick when it's over cold air. Perhaps there's so much snow there, it's coldest there. probably everything there. You have higher elevation. That's why they got so much snow. Plus, they have a lot of snow, and there's a high pressure in the area anyways, so it decided to center itself right over that area. That makes a lot of sense. But anyways, it's bringing very cold air down in front of the high. You get north winds, and then until you get to those downsloping winds in Los Angeles, 90 degrees. But then you have that storm system off in Missouri moving to Cleveland, moving into Ontario with its front, and that low pressure system is also causing a circulation of strong northwest winds behind that. So we're bringing down really cold air from the north. Temperatures are actually highs are in the mid 40s for the northern Minnesota area, and temperatures are even only in the it goes up into the mid 50s for Minneapolis, but back down into the mid 40s for Cheyenne, Wyoming. But then when you go about 100 miles west of Cheyenne, afternoon highs are only in the 30s. In the 30s. What is... you guys don't like 30s, right? I don't know what that means. That's above my head. Anyways, now which state has the most ridiculous temperature inversion? What state is it? Well, we have the largest contrast in temperatures over a couple of states. Arizona goes from the 50s in the north, 60s, 70s, 80s in the south. Texas does something very similar. New Mexico does something almost similar. But what state has an absolutely crazy situation? It is the state of Montana. High temperatures are in the 60s in north central Montana, and highs are only in the 30s in south central Montana, and then it goes 40s, 50s. It's totally backwards. I know everyone laughs. You know why people laugh? It's not because it's funny. It's because there's something that needs to be expressed, and we don't even have that emotion available. The closest thing is laughter. Because when things are backwards and upside down, usually it's humor and we laugh. This one doesn't quite fit the humor. I don't know why, but the laughter's the closest thing that we have. What do the people in north central Montana think about the fact temperatures are in the 60s? I hope I said north central Montana. That's also also goes into Canada, believe it or not. Anyways, that high pressure, as we mentioned a long time ago, slides into Texas, southeast into Texas, and then we get the south winds, and boy, does it warm up over there. What does it warm up to? Some areas in the Pacific, I don't remember the exact cities. What is it going to be? They had a blizzard this week. Temperatures were down to 8 degrees, 37 miles southeast of this little town in Utah. What are the temperatures going to be after it warms up? Temperatures expected to go into the low 70s by Sunday. That's right ahead of the next storm system coming off the Pacific. This is a potent storm. Has an atmospheric river going right into it. It's going to bring lots of rain to the northwest. The atmospheric river breaks down as it goes over the mountains as usual, but not completely. Even areas on the eastern part of the mountains will continue to get at least light rain. And there's a 2 to 3 hour period they could get heavy rain. Amazing, heavy rain. That's what this atmospheric river, but there's another variable that's coming together to bring that heavy rain just for a 2 to 3 hour period. There's going to be high elevation mountain snows. And I'm going to say another thing over here. This is a new fall weather pattern. Finally, a fall weather pattern. What do people think about that? I know. I really wanted that summer weather pattern. Chicago, dew points have been above 60 for the month of October, all the way through the 11th. From October 1st to October 11th, the temperature never dropped under 61 degrees, and temperatures still have never dropped under 50 degrees. But, temperature did manage to drop under 61 degrees the day after October 11th. I know. If only we could have kept the record going. But tonight, temperatures are expected to finally drop into the mid-40s. That whole summer situation of overnight lows in the 60s for 11 days and then back into the 60s this week, that's all going to be ending next week. We're going to forget the booze for now, because let's just go on over here. The Pacific Northwest actually is going to benefit because they're going to start to get rain, and that area has had a drought. It's also going to be good for the mountain snows. Another potent storm system moves into the Pacific Northwest by the middle part of next week, and a third one for the following weekend. The one for next weekend, however, the computer models, they all agree on the timing, which is amazing, but they disagree on the strength of the storm. And that's something that's going to have to be... I know, they all agree on the time. And, what if... what if they're all wrong in the timing? Yeah, that would be a real interesting one. I think that the Dumching is the correct emotion when it comes to those waterlogged trees. It's not and in Montana, that whole situation, 60s in the north, 30s in the south, that also really is a Dumching. Anyways, so we get a fall weather pattern, a parade of storms, and it looks like here in the Midwest we're also going to be affected by it. But the further east you go, the less affected you're going to be by the fall temperatures. In fact, for the week after next, it's going to be above normal everywhere east in the country, all except for maybe the southeast, where temperatures are going to be near normal. But we're talking about above normal temperatures all over the East Coast. And then we go into then it becomes very above normal when you head into the upper Midwest and the plains, even Montana, that whole area. And the below normal is reserved for southeast California, the very spot where temperatures are in the 90s, low 90s today. The paper said mid-80s, so we have to see who ends up being right. Downtown Los Angeles, low 90s, hot, windy, and dusty over there. And they have wind advisories all the way till tomorrow morning, I think, for that area. That's the area that's going to be below normal. And, but, what? So, you have, so what did I mean that the fall temperatures are going to be affected? So, you know what? I don't know what I meant by that. Long-term weather forecasts show above normal temperatures even for the Montana area, even for those areas that get affected by those Northwest Pacific storms. However, the thing is that the short-term weather forecasts show a parade of Pacific storms. That's the classic situation for the Northwest, and usually the parade of storms then parades across the country. That's the way it goes. The storm system coming onto the coast on Sunday is coming out of the Gulf of Alaska, and there's some energy that came out of Hawaii, an area close to Hawaii, that is getting moved into this storm. And I just love it because we have the very two states, of the that belong to the United States. It happens to be both of them are producing energy that's colliding, as if like there's unity. They both belong to the same country, and then they are, that's not the right one. And then they're coming over to this country, and they are going to be producing that low pressure system slides southeast. And if you look on the Tribune weather map for next week, it's total chaos. I can never read that weather map with all the low pressure systems and high pressure systems. So, but it's always like that. So I don't know. I'll have to figure out how to read those 7 weather maps for next week. Anyways, I want to discuss the freeze warnings affected Minnesota, but it looks like I'm going to have to go. But let's do it real quick and see if I can make it through. Actually, I'm going to have to go. It is time for, well, let's go. There's freeze warnings in effect for areas in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, even north central Kansas. What's amazing about that is that a freeze warning means that the growing season has not ended yet. There's still a growing season, even for tonight. And Minneapolis, Minnesota says this is going to be the very first frost of the season. Thank you for listening. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbos.